Get started. First, I want to welcome everyone to today's program and thank the Wellesley Free Library for co-sponsoring this program, and Wellesley Media, who is here to record the program for those who are unable to attend. I will. Is that a little bit better? Yeah? Good. Okay. I'm going to begin, as you can see here, we have a fabulous show that the Wellesley Society of Artists just put up on April 1st. It's our gratitude show, and I'm going to announce the award winners for this show. For third place, the award goes to a new member, Pat Nemeth, for her painting, The Wisdom of the Trees and Their Grace. And I don't think Pat is here. I thought she was going to be, but it doesn't look like she is. So congratulations to Pat. And second place goes to Hannah Nersassian for Glow. Congratulations to Hannah. And first place goes to Maria Babb for her painting, Snacker's Delight. And our last award is a special one that is being given today in memory of a WSA member, Nancy Payne, and who was a resident of Wellesley and who passed away last fall. She had been a member of the WSA for nearly 25 years and was a regular participant in our shows and events. Nancy's chosen medium was watercolor and frequently painted ethereal flowers and landscapes. So today's award for the Nancy Payne Memorial Award for Best Watercolor goes to Kate Heald for her painting, Unconditional. So congratulations to Kate. So on behalf of the Wellesley Society of Artists and the Needham Art Association, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for coming. We are especially grateful to Needham for this annual collaboration and an opportunity to bring our communities together. Today's program, Water-Based Painting in View of Nature, Materials, Methods, and Practice, is with artist Nancy Friese. Nancy Friese is a painter-printmaker who works in open air. Nancy's paintings and prints have been exhibited in over 30 solo shows and 170 group shows nationally and internationally. She was elected as a national academician in the National Academy of Design in New York and received 2 National Endowment of the Arts fellowships and the Japan-U.S. Friendship Commission Creative Artist Fellowship. In addition to earning a BS degree from the University of North Dakota and an MFA degree from Yale University, Nancy studied in the graduate painting program at the University of California, Berkeley, and studied painting and printmaking at the Art Academy of Cincinnati. Nancy is a full professor at Rhode Island School of Design. She has held residencies and fellowships in numerous locales, including Giverny, Japan, at the Garden Conservancy, where in 2025, she has been serving as the first artist in residence. Nancy's obvious passion for her subject is revealed in her patient and thoughtful practice of painting from life, inviting viewers to share in the beauty of nature. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Nancy said there'd be, I said, about how many people? And she said, 30. And I think there's 31. So pretty good, Nancy. I counted. Pretty good. Well, thank you so much, Nancy. And I'm thrilled that you saw the notice about the Garden Conservancy, that I'm doing that till next December. And I'm so happy to be here in Wellesley. I did a program at Wellesley College many years ago and came down every weekend came up from Providence, and so it's been fun just driving through and seeing it again. And then I enjoyed your show. I looked at every piece carefully and was really touched by the phrases, the work and the phrases that went under it. And I was just wondering, how did you come up with gratitude for a show? It says gratitude on that door over there for something. Is that an annual show, gratitude?
No, not really.
It's very nice. It's great. Yes, it was very touching. You know, I almost got teary-eyed in some of the phrases because they resonate with me so much. The same, you know, you're doing art the same reason I'm doing it, I think. So thank you. And then another pleasure was meeting the historian of Margaret Jordan Patterson, a favorite artist of mine, a printmaker that I put in the RISD, I curated a show in the RISD Museum, and I put her in. And she taught at Dana Hall. You have a historian that's written about her, so that's exciting too, to think of her today. So already it's been a great day for me to come on down. And so what I thought, you tell me if this will work. I've got some slides together mainly to show you my big walk-in watercolors, and which of course I couldn't bring. So I was going to talk a little bit about landscape, show you some slides of landscape, a few other people, and then show you my portfolio of real watercolors, and then maybe take a little break and then get the portfolio off and then just open the table up to showing you maybe how I'd start a watercolor, and I have supplies for everybody to try if they want any of the media. I brought all the types of water-based paintings that I use. So does that sound all right? If you think you're going to only get a slide talk, you're not. So I'm going to speed on through that and then show you the real work, and then we'll do some hands-on. And I see Nancy has refreshments too. Okay. If that works, we'll try that. Okay, I've been painting landscape since almost the first year of art. I went to a museum school, and they took us right out. Painting and drawing were the centerpiece. Printmaking, it was kind of a painter-printmaker program in a museum school, 4 years there. After I had a different career and had worked in different places, I went back to art school at 25. And my landscape has been important in my family. I'm Norwegian American, and we have a lot of outdoor a lifetime of outdoor. So it's fit for me to go outside and do landscape, and every day I look forward to when I can get outside. So landscape can be timeless or about time. Landscape can reveal the history of a location or really be ephemeral in location. Landscape is a subject as well as being subjective. Landscape without people may be a vessel for all other interests. Landscape is a place for reflection and roaming, and that's the part that I like especially, is kind of the philosophical realm of landscape. Landscape can be descriptive and indicate transformations, change in labor, agricultural, individual impact, a history of a place. Landscape is part of every culture's art production. Landscape is old, new, real, and fictive. Landscape has gravity and surrounds us. So I'm kind of a down-to-earth artist, and pretty much always been that, very pragmatic. And I'm very interested in, and I like to read authors that any person from any field could understand. So I like that part of landscape is its broader appeal, not just for the art historian or an aesthetic sensibility, but for anybody. The land is no longer a scape, but an artist and a viewer standing on the earth side by side. They can enter the world. Vertical and horizontal stability advantages the landscape artist. If you have that horizontal, vertical stability, you can make a vortex of color, you can make any saturation, it still has a reference to earth. And my works are a compilation of many moments of a particular day or of a particular season, but not precise. If it's cloudy one day, I go out. If it's clear, the next I go out. And I kind of merge those over maybe a month for a large oil painting, sometimes a month for, as I get older, it takes me longer to do everything. It takes me a long time. I used to be able to whip on through things, but anyway, about a month. And it's also, when I'm out of doors, it's a sharing place. So people that haven't seen anybody paint, are very excited that they see an artist. I was painting at a site for 5 years near my house on the bay, near the bay, and I had a giant painting, oil painting, an easel, my oil paintings all set up, a chair. I had a paintbrush in my hand, and I'm going like this on the canvas, and a person walks up and says, "Are you painting?" So what I can tolerate every conversation when I'm painting, and I've had people sit right down beside me with their six-pack and talk to me. But you know what? I said, "What do you think I'm doing?" And guess what she said? She said, "I work in a house nearby. I've never seen an artist. I've never seen an artist paint." And that was a lesson. So, when people like to see you out of doors. People like to see you working. Everybody likes to see color, and some people have never seen that. It's hard, to me, I've done a life of art. It's hard to believe that. So that was a special day. I'd work, I think the largest outdoor watercolor I've done is 144 inches long and 90 inches high. So I particularly like walk-in size work. It's not so, I've painted oils outside even bigger than that. But I have to find a place that I'm protected from wind. I tie it to my car on the side. I have all sorts of strategies of how to get out there and get going. So I like to build shape into line. I try to balance saturated and muted, warms and cools, darks and lights, and colors throughout, and to have the eye move about. And, I use all of these things. I'm a printmaker, so I know the range of tones by heart, like 20 or 30 of those. So, and then I know all about the colors, how they work. So I have a little system that I do pretty regularly. I cover every surface. When I'm doing a watercolor, I try and cover the surface very quickly, very broadly. And then I mainly in warms and cools. And then I work in complementaries and larger shapes. And then I go smaller and smaller and smaller so that I'm, in a way, representing the world I see, all the variety of tones and colors and brightness and darkness. I like that. I fill it up. So that's pretty much how I work, in a systematic way. And when I get to a site, I look outward, I think inward, and I establish value. And value is okay. It's okay to have value and to make your own value. So I do that when I'm arranging a composition or adjusting the colors or looking at the site. And, I think people forget that you're doing that, but you are distinguishing and making distinctions about the world that you're looking at. So there's many layers over and over and over. And I've painted up across the world. I had a residency. I'm kind of stumbling, I think, because maybe they're recording me. But I've painted across the world, and I have done really big works. I ship them back in a ski bag, and I say they're not finished, then they're not taxed. So you can do it all over. I haven't been able to travel much recently, but every summer I go to North Dakota, where my great-grandfather from Norway's homesteaded, and I have his farmstead. So I'm sure some of the pieces I show you are from out in that area. So I paint in New England, and then I go to North Dakota in the summer and paint. So that's a little preface to me. So now I'll show you the slides, and I want to be conscious of the time, and then I'll show you the real work. Do you have any questions? Yeah.
In painting such a large piece, I mean, I'm a watercolor artist, so I don't work that large. How do you account for capturing the light? And
I always paint light to dark. I always, when I cover the ground, I always paint light to dark. And watercolor you can remove. If you don't do acrylic, this artist, what I learned, RISD Museum, I was a faculty fellow in the museum for 2 years, and I was able to look at many of their, I think, over 600 collections of British watercolors that were donated by, I think, Richard Baker. And they're very rugged, so you can sand water. I use very thick paper.
I guess my question is, with changing light over time, how do you handle that?
My works are all a composite. So if the last day I'm out there and everything's full, there's strong shadow cast, that's the way I use that. I do it the same. I do a morning piece or an evening piece, but I don't do 4 to 6 or 9 to 12. I'm open. And then to get production done, I have to work more than just when the weather is exactly the same. So that's why I like to say that the works are fiction. Because they're not a 3 o'clock painting, or they're really, as I experience a space over many hours and many days and get to know it. I painted one tree for 5 years, the same tree, and then somebody cut it down. But I had to move on, right? So maybe when you see, it's interesting to look at the light in these and how they are either made up or they're a time of day. But you decide, you see if it's, I'm kind of a generalist in between that. It's not as specific, and so it's my, my experience too. So that sense of experience gives me great leeway. So I account for it that way. Whereas other people may paint very particular and want that particular light. The snow paintings are beautiful out there, the light that she has chosen. I noticed she's from RISD. And so they're really, that's a very difficult thing to paint, water and snow. And she's done it so beautifully and with very, very smooth surface. So it's a very particular time. Quite lovely. Okay, I'll show you these. This is, it's a dirty slide. Can you turn it? Yeah. And these are, I didn't put notes, I'm just talking about what I see and what I kind of remember. This is a painting, a watercolor. It's about this big in the RISD Museum, and it's by David Cox, and he, I think, died 1850s. He's one of the British watercolors. But I'm sorry, it looks like a dirty slide, but it's a rough watercolor. It's very rough paper. And you could see that he brushed the side of his brush right over the tops of the paper, dry. Down at the bottom is a lot of dry brush work. And I just like that. It's not that I like that composition. I like the weather. My great-grandfather was a weather. No, my grandfather, my grandfather was a weather forecaster. And he made it up from the planets, and he was followed from Canada to Mexico. But this is a particular weather situation that's so recognizable, the wind, everything about it, and when you see it in person, it's incredibly fresh. So that's like a maybe faster watercolor than I do, but it's an aspect of being out of doors, and you can find insects, you're in the world, so things are dirty and sweaty out there. And this is another artist that I researched and did I think I did co-curated the biggest print show of his work ever, Thomas Moran. And he was an adventurer, and he helped found the national parks. This is in Yellowstone, and when he did his grand paintings that I think are at the, they may be at the they're in the Smithsonian. They brought the two big paintings from Yellowstone into the Congress, and that's when they voted on the national park system. They were able to understand what happened because of the scale of the paintings. They could all understand what was out there and why they needed to save it. So these are called field studies, and they're kind of maybe what you would do initially if you go outside. They're on tinted paper, which is a real good way to start. Then you go light or you go dark. I'm talking to people that maybe don't know landscape painting, and then some of you that are better painters than me. So I'm just kind of generalizing when I speak. But he also is heightening it with Chinese white, that's a zinc white, opaque. So he's getting a lot of mileage from lights and darks and that middle value that's so beautiful, that is the base. And then he's not filling up the whole page like he would a painting. It's a field. It's very, very much about gravity and horizontal vertical relationships. And then this is an artist it's kind of like Margaret Jordan Patterson. I just love both of their work. Her name is Fidelia Bridges, and I've been able to see a lot of her work. I think she was she was in New York, and I think she died in Western Connecticut. I'm trying to remember the name. Maybe Sharon, Connecticut. You can drive by her house, and she's buried there, I believe. So she was an outdoor painter, and there's some beautiful images of her with her backpack on and her easel. And her work is the quietest work, I think. And to me, it just draws you in, and maybe I'm a little more agitated, but I'm calmed by her work. And she observed out of doors, and I love the way she allows there to be large areas untouched and tonal. If you get a chance to see her watercolors, they're, I'm sure, in every collection across the nation. If you want to ask for them, Fidelia Bridges. Very delicate mark making, lots of atmosphere. And then Janet Fish, her watercolors are so phenomenal. She's a national academician whom I met, and she's a fabulous painter, always fills her works up. Sometimes you can see her landscape behind a still life. But it's all seems like it's of the natural world, even if it's glass. This is a friend of mine, Donna Bruton, who's now deceased, but she did symbolic landscapes where you feel like you could walk through them. This one on the left is I think it's 8 by 8. And she'll use watercolor or acrylic or a rag and tone it. And so they're imagined landscapes and places, poetic landscapes are what I would say. And then this is a student of mine, you may have heard of her, Shazia Sikander. She's phenomenal in New York and has done all sorts of sculptures and installations. And she came to RISD painting with she could use one hair brush to paint her paintings. She's from Pakistan. And so these are small sketches, but she does, I think one is on clay, a clay-coated surface. So you'd mix clay up with gum arabic and thin it down and then coat the surface. I think you can buy some of that some places too. And then it takes pencil very beautifully, but it's fragile. So those are just some warm-ups of types of watercolor. Now this is, you know what I did last night? I don't know if I cut my big paintings. I did them in 2 panels, and I'm only showing you 1 panel, but this is 1/2 of a 144-inch watercolor. And I paint them separately. You know, I can't get, I don't use a roll. I use Lana Aquarelle. Lana Aquarelle, I can't pronounce that, but it's a beautiful, very thick paper that you literally can stand on and it won't get damaged. And so then I'm just doing small, lighter tones in the back. The whole surface is covered with color, and then it gets more linear as you get front. So I think shape to line, because I'm a printmaker too, tone to brightness. And then that was done at iPark in Connecticut. There's a residency I've gone to 5 times, and this is a big half of my tree. My other half is the other side of my yard in North Dakota. So, and these are now mounted on wood, so they kind of seem like when you see them, they feel like an oil painting almost, but they're watercolors. Oh, no, go ahead. Oh, here's a double one. Here's the full-length one of a hillside that I've done. So it takes a lot of watercolor to go over that. I'm going to speed up here because I've got the work right there. You can see real work. And this is where my daughter was in California for school, and, you know, I could only have breakfast with her. She wouldn't let me hang around with her the whole day, you know, which I anticipated I was going to do. But so I brought my painting stuff, and I got quite a few paintings done, you know, because I had a lot of free time when I'd visit her. Now she wants to visit me, you know, so anyway. So this was done in a botanical garden near hers, and things that I wouldn't normally run into that's so much fun to paint. You know, I don't have that opportunity, but just the differences in flora and fauna and the dryness, you know, that and the people that walk by you are so different. This is another one I did out there. I think that's called a Sally Holmes rose, that bending flower over, and it really, the site was just like that, brilliant blue, you know, blooming time. So maybe I painted that over a week. These are 40 by 40 inches. This is 40 by 60 up in North Dakota. I've done about 5 oils of this site, and I just showed big etchings of this site in New York at the IFPDA. So, you know, I'm going to run on through because of the time here. This is To the Sea. linear. This is I'm having a show at the Griswold Museum in Old Lyme, Connecticut in June 28th through the mid-September. And this is one that I did on their property. This was done off of a roll, and I actually rolled this up as I painted it. So it's of the Lieutenant River, and it's 80 or 85 inches high, tall. So literally, it's my size. I'm walking right into it. And I love that, if you think of your expanse and how you stand in front of a piece, there's something very powerful about that in a 2D art world. This is the wild cucumber plant between two of the trees, and then I think this is the last one of 3 trees on my property. I've painted that so many different ways, and I'm one of 3 daughters, so I always love to do that three-piece. But I did paint that very, very dark sky, and it was on the Lana aquarelle, and I didn't like it, so I soaked half of the painting in the bathtub. And the paper was just fine. Then it just took that off, and I ended up with just the perfect sky that I wanted. So that's all the slides. And so if I turn the lights on, then I'll show you the work. We'll take a little break, and then we'll do the second part. Hi there.
Hi, can I ask a quick question?
Oh, sure.
Given the size of these, it's amazing. Do you sketch your composition or anything?
Not usually.
So just as you go?
I sketch with watercolor.
Right.
I just can draw. But basically, I do we'll see if we see any pencil on these, But basically, I do the warms and the cools. I do them and try and cover it with light as much as I can. Then I go in and pick out my forms, because the forms are the things that draw me to the place. The sequence of forms, how forms recede, what the shape of the forms. Usually that's what draws me to a place for some reason. Everybody has a different reason why they're at a place, but it's spatial for me, and what maybe from childhood, what interests me. Okay, so we'll come over here and look at these, and then I can put them away and we can spread out.